Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up. Is it May? Yes, it's May. So let's get started with the books that I read. I think I only finished one book, which was I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. She's French, so this is translated by Ross Schwartz. So it's a post-apocalyptic kind of continuing apocalyptic speculative novel. It's actually from the 90s, but recently it's got more and more popular because of people raving about it on TikTok. Basically, it just sounds very interesting, and the way it reads is very mysterious and bleak and depressing. So it's despite it being quite a slim volume, at only like just under 200 pages, it did take me quite a while to get through it because it was just infinitely bleak. There are some really beautiful moments in it, and like towards the end there is like a passage about like death and memory and how, so it's on like page 184, so it's pretty much at the end, so I probably shouldn't read it out. But there's just like quite a beautiful meditation on like memory and sort of living on. It's like kind of the thought that you truly die when the last person that knows you dies kind of vibe. So it's mysterious and nothing really gets solved, so if you don't really like those kind of books, then this isn't the book for you. But it's kind of a meditation. At first you think it's kind of feminist literature, but it doesn't necessarily end up that way. I don't really want to talk about it without spoiling it, because I'm not that clever at being able to review something without talking about plot points that matter. But you could see it as like the idea. So the theme of the story is there's 40 women in a bunker locked away. They don't know why they're there. They're being monitored. So like at first you kind of think it's like a commentary on the patriarchy, like the men are the ones that are watching them, and it's just a bunch of women confined in a space that they can't break out of. And in a way the men are also trapped because they're trapped by the fact that they've got to keep surveillance. So you could argue that men who uphold the patriarchy are also trapped by the patriarchy. But it evolves beyond that and just kind of comments on life as a whole and sort of the idea. I mean, I found it very bleak because I was just thinking, basically, what is the point of existence? Like, at the very basic part of this, they have a paltry existence that has no real significance or bearing on anything. But then, like, don't we all just have... our existence is kind of like a non-entity. Because you live, then you die, and then all traces of you are forgotten over time. And so don't read this if you're prone to melancholy and depressing existentialism. Throw it out the window. Still reading The Wise Man's Fear. I'm on page 102, page 100? Page 296. I barely read it this month, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I need to get back into it. I think I spent a lot of time trying to get through this, and a lot of my other time was spent watching movies, so I didn't really gravitate towards this because I was reading this. But to kind of blow that out of the water, I have also started reading a short novella by Stefan Zweig, but this is pretty much in the last couple of days of May, because actually I'm recording this on the 2nd of June. She's early. The Chess, or Schachnovelle, as it's in German, because Stefan Zweig is an Austrian writer, was an Austrian writer. It's actually like quite tragic, because he actually completed this... Oh god, my bookmark's going to come out. He completed this novel a year before he committed suicide with his wife, because they were absolutely demoralised and kind of broken-hearted about everything that was going on in Europe at the time. So this was like so he died in 1942. So as you can imagine, being someone from Austria at that time, knowing that basically Europe was, the Europe that he knew was dying. So yeah, it must have been quite depressing. But so far, I am only 24 pages into this. It's intriguing. I think there's a very charming turn of phrase in Stefan Zweig's stuff, which kind of links to a filmmaker who actually watched one of their new movies this month, which is what's his face, Wes Anderson, because I think so far his best movie has been The Grand Budapest Hotel, and that very much leans into and features Stefan Zweig as the author in that work, and he actually borrowed or stole narratives. I can't remember, was it Beware of Pity and The Post Office Girl, I think, are the two stories that inspired The Grand Budapest Hotel. But yeah, so there's like a very charming tweeness to the turn of phrase of this so far. I am intrigued to see where it goes, and I've borrowed this from my library that I work at, and I've also got another one of his short novellas that I want to read. But I also have Beware of Pity on my shelf somewhere. But I was hoping to like read that when I go to Vienna to look at Gustav Klimt's art, but I don't know when I'll be taking that trip. I've lost the plot. I don't know what I'm actually talking about. I'm just rambling now. Yeah, so far it's intriguing. I'm looking forward to see where this goes. Like the blurb on the back kind of makes it sound a bit like a thriller. So it's like sometimes genius comes at a fearful price. So that's all I've read this month. Let's get on to movies. This is where we spend most of our time at the moment. Movies. I'm not going to talk about every single movie, perhaps. I will just kind of list the movies. I'll just generally say there was a few French movies. Some of them were, I think most of them were all right. One that I like and I've revisited it a few times, I've actually got it on DVD. I got it secondhand on DVD, and like the quality of the DVD is bloody good for secondhand. But that's L'Amant Double, or Double Lover, by Francois Ozon. I do love a bit of Ozon because I did watch that one, and then the next night I did watch Summer of 85, which I hadn't seen before, which is like a coming-of-age gay romance film set in, obviously, 1985. It's quite a charming film, like nothing really kind of groundbreaking or anything, but I do enjoy Ozon's work. I watched Bad Influence. Oh, I did have that on DVD. That is another James Spader movie. So like last year I had a bit of it sounds a bit weird, Spader Fest. Like I watched quite a few of his movies, and I had that one lying around. I think like the internet was down that night, so there's quite a few DVDs that I've watched because our internet kept dropping out this month for some reason. So yeah, I did a lot of DVD watching. The main thing I've watched, which kind of leads into TV as well, is I watched all of the Next Generation Star Trek movies because I finished watching the Next Generation show, which fucking love it. So good, so charming. Like all the characters, just I must admit I did cry in the last episode, like because I was just like, oh no. I've got no more episodes. Oh dear. I think it's because like they're sitting around a poker table, and like Jean-Luc Picard, for the first time ever in all 7 seasons, comes and sits at the table with them, and then he like says, oh, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. And then I think it was Beverly that turns round to him and says, or was it Troy? One of the women, maybe, I can't remember now. Says like, oh, you were always welcome. So cute. But yeah, like Data is obviously the best. So yeah, I watched all of the Next Generation movies. Some were better than others. I think the real standout was it First Contact? Yeah, with the Borg. I thought that was great because like it had very kind of Aliens-esque action and like sort of stalking around a spaceship that has got a thing hunting you down. I thought that was really cool, like very aliens. And like the whole, like I love time travel and things, and you've also got like the idea of seeing the first successful use of warp drive that then brings the Vulcans. Yeah, it's just kind of iconic. What else? Yeah, no, I just quite enjoyed them. Like, I know Nemesis is a bit shit, but it's more Star Trek. Can't get enough of it. Then I watched Concrete Utopia, which is a Korean film, and essentially it's about a cataclysmic event that happens in Seoul, where there's like an earthquake and pretty much everything gets knocked down and like fucked up apart from one apartment building, hence Concrete Utopia. And it's basically like kind of the political divisions, the selfishness, the sort of looking after one's belongings more than helping others, which I feel like is quite an interesting thing to be discussing in our day and age. So like all the residents that live and have paid to live in this apartment building basically turn on everyone else and make everyone leave, and then they basically live in luxury even though everyone else is dying and barely surviving in the rubbles of the city. There is a really cool moment in the film where they're having like a party, and there's like flickering, and like where they're dancing in front of some lights, it shows as if it's like flickering flames on the building. I thought it was such a genius representation of basically they've sold their souls for this paradise, but like Satan, they shall also fall, because of their pride, their selfishness. So I thought it was really cool imagery that forebodes what is going to happen later on in the film. So I thought it was quite enjoyable. Like, it's got Lee Byung-hun in it, who plays like a really interesting and corrupt character, and I think he always does like some really cool weird shit in movies. So like I would say, if you like any of his other movies, then definitely watch this one. And I just feel like Korea is very good at doing like kind of conceptual studies on capitalism. Like, for example, Squid Game has kind of rocked the world, but it's ultimately a critique of capitalism that kind of feels a bit hollow since they did like a game show fucking thing of it. But it is what it is. But yeah, so I really do enjoy the way they explore capitalism in their cinema. Like, I think a lot of it is really, really just clever and inventive. So I'm always a fan of Korean movies that explore capitalism for that very reason. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. Then I watched another French film, but this one was actually shit. So like last month I said I was like listening to a podcast about the French Revolution, and so I was like, oh yeah, are there any decent movies about the French Revolution in French? And I found one called One Nation, One King, and let me tell you, it's not decent. It feels so boring. I literally felt myself thinking, oh god, when is this going to end? It had some really good people in it, but it was just shit. And now my battery is low. Shit. Balls. Other films I saw 2 German movies. I've got them actually on DVD. Gespenster, which means Ghosts, by Christian Petzold, and The Lives of Others by Florian Henkel von Donnersmarck. Really great pieces of cinema. Gespenster is kind of like it's a study of like ghosts in society and sort of not fitting in but wanting to fit in, and like the lengths we go to betray ourselves to find a home and things like that. Very interesting. And then The Lives of Others by Jove. It's set during the sort of dying days of the Cold War, before the Berlin Wall falls, and there's a playwright who is under suspicion by the regime. So then the Stasi basically spy on him and bug his house, listening to all his conversations. And yeah, like, it's really, really cool. Like, just very thrilling. Like, you know, when you don't want someone to get found out doing something, you're just like, oh shit. Very stressful watch, but beautifully done and so interesting. And like, yeah, and it's beyond belief that this shit actually happened. Like, the fuck? Absolute batshit crazy. Then I saw Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning and The Phoenician Scheme. One I liked, one I thought was utter trash. I really actually liked the Mission Impossible: The Final Hurrah, if you will. It's just a very entertaining movie, and despite it being nearly 3 hours long, I was engaged throughout. The Phoenician Scheme, on the other hand, stylised, beautiful to look at, charming quirkiness that Wes Anderson is known for, but utterly boring. I found myself wanting it to be over so I could go home. I've been quite disappointed by Wes Anderson's recent movies, and I don't know what it is, but I just feel like maybe I've outgrown the twee charm of him. Might have to revisit some of his older movies to see whether I actually did enjoy them. Well, no, I did at the time, but whether I actually like them now. My camera's still flashing its battery, so I need to quickly go through the shows I've been watching. A lot of the shows I've been watching are kind of a continuation of ones that I have been watching. So, like, I finished watching The Studio, which I thought was great, really funny. Can't remember if I said whether I'd started watching Murderbot. I don't think I did, so I've been watching Murderbot, which is, again, quite funny, kind of relatable. Like, there's a robot that basically hates humans and just wants to watch his TV shows. Shit. And, like, just very kind of, it's a smart kind of comedic look at humans through the eyes of a robot who has kind of hacked his programming. And it's got Alexander Skarsgård in it, and I think it's just, like, such a good actor. And, like, gets the humour of Murderbot so well. Finished watching Your Friends and Neighbours, thought it was quite good. Interesting sort of critique on capitalism and sort of the vapidness of high society. And then I have started watching 2 shows. I haven't finished them just yet, but I probably will in the next couple of days. And that is Department Q, which is basically a Nordic noir series. I think it's a book series that was made into some movies. I haven't actually watched the movies, but I do want to watch them at some point. And then basically Netflix have taken it from Denmark and supplanted it into Edinburgh. So it's kind of like still broody, sort of bad weather that kind of feels atmospheric, and sort of the gothic-y architecture of Edinburgh feeds well into it as well. Yeah, so I kind of enjoy the brooding atmosphere, but it's in Scotland. I fucking love Scotland. Beautiful place. And so yeah, it kind of is an interesting twist on the material to put it into Scotland. And then there's kind of like riffs on, one of the police officers is English, and so there's like banter between Scottish people and English people, which is always amusing. I haven't finished watching it yet, but I am enjoying it so far. It's intriguing the way it's been formatted, and yeah, I just am a bit of a sucker for Nordic noir, but in this case I think it's been dubbed Tartan noir. Like, okay, we'll take that. Where did I get to? Because my camera died, as per usual. I've now lost all train of thought, and unfortunately I feel like I can't ever get through a video all in one go. So I've just had to run around, and it's really hot up here, so now I'm like dying of heat stroke. Well, I'm not really, but I just had to rummage through so many different drawers because I've been sorting things out, and I'm quite a messy person, and so, like, for some reason I know exactly where everything is when it's a shitstorm, but when I tidy up I suddenly lose all knowledge of where anything is. So the moral of the story is, don't organise, keep the chaos. Right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so then there's like literally one show, one thing left to talk about, and the battery died. And the show is Murder Mindfully, which is a German language TV show. As you can probably see, I've had a bit of a German moment this month. Don't know why that's happened. Who knows? But yeah, like, I'm surprised I haven't watched this sooner because it came out last year, I think, like October time. But essentially it's about this guy who's like a top lawyer at a firm who has basically a mob boss as his biggest client, and his wife is annoyed that he basically just spends all his time at work and is a bit shit to both her and his daughter. Like, he just never has time for them. And so then she's like, oh, you need to practice mindfulness. And he takes it a bit too far, and basically it's what it says on the tin. He starts using mindfulness to murder people and scheme and get involved and become embroiled even further into this gang life. And it's just so funny, like, it's so well written. And like, he breaks the fourth wall. And I always find shows that do that funny, like Fleabag kind of was the trendsetter when it first aired. Some things do it successfully. Like, I feel like this show, a lot of the humour comes from the back and forth between the main character and the audience. Other things don't do it successfully. Like, what was that god-awful Jane Austen adaptation? Persuasion. Was it Persuasion? With Dakota Johnson. It was just like a bit cringe. Youth in the Breaking the... Yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah, so like sometimes it's successful, sometimes it isn't, but with this I think it's quite amusing and it's just well written comedy. And yeah, so I think I've got like 2 more episodes, so I would definitely recommend it if you want something a bit stupid, a bit silly, and just quite funny. What else have I got to talk about? Oh wait, I was right at the end. Yeah, so that's the end of the video. I mean, perhaps I can go back and quickly talk about this movie more. But I feel like I said everything very quickly, which, by Jove, that was quite the skill. Yeah, so there's no point retreading ground. But it's definitely a very good movie and you should watch it. I could say more about Mission Impossible and thingy, but it's like a popcorn movie. There's not really much to say about it, other than I did cry at the end. There was a moment where all lights went out in the world. Spoiler alert, and then they flicked back on, and it just made me really fucking emotional. Because I was just thinking about, like, just the state of the world at the moment, and we are on the brink of destruction. And, like, this whole film, it's just about, like, taking chances on people to save humanity. And it just made me fucking emotional, because I thought, you know what, the world is so fucking shit at the moment, with everything that's going on, and it just got me, like, the blink of an eye of humanity going out, and yeah, like, crazy. But sorry to anyone that hasn't watched it and feel like that's a spoiler. Oopsie. My goal is to try and get a lot further in this book next month, or this month, and try to think what films I'm gonna see. I'm not sure, actually. Like, I feel like I don't know whether there's actually loads of films that I want to see in the cinema at the moment. I want to see the new John Wick movie. Oh, 28 years later. Yeah, I'll go and see that. Yeah, no, I'm actually quite looking forward to that. Like, I saw an article earlier talking about a 20 camera rig that they used to film a scene in the movie. Like, they used I think it's all shot on iPhone, I'm not sure. But that it showed this massive rig of like 20 iPhones mounted with lenses on them to shoot a zombie. And so I'm just intrigued about what effect that would make. I'm always, yeah, like, I find the idea of filmmaking and just sort of the technical side of it quite interesting, because how do these people think of these, like, new ways to shoot something, or is it quite obvious? Like, I'm intrigued to see what effect that has, and, like, is it just that it feels more 360? I'm really not sure. But yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing that movie. But anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about things I'm looking forward to. I'll let you know what I've watched next month. Yeah, so basically, thank you for watching, and let me know what you've been reading and watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.